This video is about the development of pop-up books, looking at them from the very beginnings in the 1890s through to the middle of the 20th century. I'll be looking at this range of books and explaining which tutorials relate to the mechanisms, the designs that we're looking at. So this is the first one I'd like to look at. This is International Circus by Lothar Meggendorfer. This is from 1887. It's all made with parallelograms, which are explained in tutorial 5. It's a whole series of these. You can see they're all parallelograms, and at the end of this video I'll set the whole thing up and you can see it in all its glory. And the next book, also by Lothar Meggendorfer, is The Doll's House. This is from the 1890s, I think. All made with parallelograms, tutorial 5. This is how they work. These are the parallelograms. The whole thing opens up into a 4-foot long spread, a doll's house. Again, at the end of the tutorial, I'll set it up so you can see it in all its glory. The whole model, all 4 feet, is made of a whole series of these, all parallelograms. That's tutorial 5. And the last one I want to show you from Meggendorfer is the City Park. This is from 1890. It's not a true pop-up. This is more of a model that it unfolds in a concertina with however many of these frames, all different, and you can arrange it in all sorts of combinations. So at the end of the video I'll also set this up so you can see the possibilities, because it really is fun. The last book I'd like to show you from the 19th century it's the oldest book in my collection. It's Peep Show Pictures by Ernest Nister. The pop-up isn't very sophisticated. It's all based on parallelograms. And here's an example. They're not held in a way that makes the whole structure rigid, so they do actually rock around. If you look at it end on, you can see that it's actually just a series of pillars that are holding up these different layers. So this is 1894, Ernest Nister. So that's the 19th century. True pop-up began in 1928 with this book, the Daily Express Children's Annual. This was designed by Theodore Brown and published by Louis Giraud. And Theodore Brown is really the genius behind pop-up. And all pop-up that you see these days has its roots in the designs invented by Theodore Brown. So this is the very first pop-up model, this house. These books were described as all the coloured pictures rise up in model form, so they hadn't invented the word pop-up at this point. The house is basically an open top shape, which is tutorial 18, and at the back this screen of trees, this is a zigzag fold, tutorial 20. The next one in this book that I'd like to show you, this bed, this is based on the box shape, tutorial 14, and the key for the box is there's a pillar in the middle rising up from the centre that pushes up the lid of the box, which in this case is the top of the bed. And then this screen at the back, that's another zigzag fold, tutorial 20. So this is really genius of Theodore Brown. The way he started with that open top shape, and then he's moved on to this box shape, which is actually a really sophisticated mechanism. The next one, here we are, this is the first V-fold. So the V-folds, this is tutorial 2, and this is quite curious. He's got these odd bits at the back. The idea is that as you open and close it, it makes the ears come down. But really, in my opinion, it's a little bit overcomplicated and a bit naff. But anyway, this is really the first V-fold. So while we're at it, I'll just show you the back of this, and it really is a mess. It's crude early pop-up. He's obviously just playing around trying to get the effects he wants, but it's not really satisfactory. And the last one from this book is this one. This is a V-fold, raising this baby in the bath, and very, very simple V-fold. So this is tutorial 2. It's an acute angle V-fold pointing forward, and the whole V-fold comes forward as the page closes. This arm is just a flap. It does work. It's fairly unusual, but yeah, as the book opens and closes, the arm the arm moves a little bit. So this is the very first pop-up book, Daily Express Children's Annual #1. I've also brought along Daily Express Children's Annual #3. This was the year after, probably 1929, I think. Here's the first one. So he's getting a bit more extravagant. This is again, it's Theodore Brown's invention, Louis Giraud's publication. And here we've got the main body of the pagoda is an open top shape, which is tutorial 18. It's not a box, there's nothing pushing up the middle. And then these are parallelograms coming off it, which are tutorial 5. And the whole array of parallelograms. And this is parallel fold tutorial 6. It's not actually a parallelogram, but all the folds in it are parallel. So it's quite an interesting design. You've got this pagoda in the middle, and then with these parallelograms, he's raising up all sorts of, interesting gateways and trees here. We've got a bridge over the stream here. This is the grand entrance to the pagoda with the tile floor behind, and here there's a little rickshaw. So yeah, a lot of detail. You can see how the designs are developing as it progresses. So this is still Theodore Brown's inventions, Louis Giraud Publishing. So they were working as a team. And the next one in this book is this. Quite an amazing spread, this flower fairy. This is all based on the obtuse angle V-fold. That is tutorial 3. And then it's adding extra creases to basic shapes. That's tutorial 7. It's a very sophisticated pop-up, this, and hopefully in a future tutorial I'll be able to explain it fully and show you how to make it. But I think it's just a brilliant design. So just out of interest, I'll show you the back. You can see that this is the obtuse angle V-fold, so it's a V-fold pointing up the page but really leaning backwards. And you might want to see the whole thing, the way it all works. It's very hard to see what's actually going on if you look in under here. So I need to investigate this model some more. And the next one in this book, this is an acute angle V-fold, tutorial 2. And then this is a zigzag fold, tutorial 20. There's a parallel fold, this log in the middle. That's tutorial 6. And the cunning thing about this is as you open and close it, the action of the V-fold is to move like that. And the zigzag fold, the way it's being configured means you've got some give there. So as you open and close the book, you actually get the model sawing the log, which is rather pleasing, really. This pop-up is actually taking the whole field to another level, because now it's becoming a working model rather than just a 3D illustration. The last thing I'd like to point out is this little TB monogram. This is Theodore Brown, the designer, the inventor, really the father of all pop-up designs. And then the last one in this book, this is quite a extraordinary extravaganza, the circus. It's all based on this. The tent here is a symmetrical fold, tutorial 6. And you can actually see, when these books were made, sometimes the manufacturers, that was all piecework, they were a bit slapdash. And so here you can see this mark shows it's number L. This is where this tab should have been stuck to. But in actual fact, whoever made it stuck it a bit closer to the spine, which meant that then this side was also closer to the spine, which meant that the whole tent didn't open out as much as it should have done. And it's possible, if you find another copy of this book, Daily Express Children's Annual #3, you would find a better tent in it. But anyway, this is what it is. It's a nice little model. You can look in through the door there and you can see things going on inside the tent. If I just shine a light in the back here, you can probably see the boxing match. So that's it for Daily Express Children's Annual #3. There were actually 5 of these Daily Express Children's Annuals, and then Louis Giraud moved away, left the Daily Express, set up his own company called Strand Publications, and they then went on to produce a whole series of Baccano books. So I've got Baccano 3 here, with pictures that spring up in model form. And this is from around 1935. And here we can see they're really getting into their stride with 3D pop-up illustrations. I think this is really beautiful model with the two dancers in the front and then the whole party going on behind them. And the tutorials that cover these. This figure is the box. If you look at it end on, you can see there's a pillar in the middle, rising up, raising the top of his shoulders is actually the lid of the box. And then the way the arms move, that's also a really clever bit of paper mechanics, and I'll be covering that in another tutorial. This figure is made using a pointed V-fold, tutorial 3. So as you open and close it, she actually leans slightly towards the other figure. So they have different movements. It's very clever, this. So this piece at the back, this is all parallelograms. That's tutorial 5. And it's actually raised by these pieces here. There's one here and there's one here that pull it up. This is the asymmetric parallel fold. That is tutorial 4. This is really quite a sophisticated model with a lot of things going on. It's a very clever bit of design. And the next one in this book is this, the bass viol player. And this is all based on the box, tutorial 14. It's actually a variation on the box, because instead of having one pillar in the middle, it's got two, but it's the same effect because there's just one lid on the top. And the clever thing here is the box needs a piece that goes across the end that holds the whole shape rigid. And in this case, he's used it to make the bow move across the instrument. Very clever bit of design, that. He's built into it this little piece here that makes the mouth open and close. I think that's trying to go a bit far. It's sort of quite a lot of effort for very little effect. And then we've got these legs. This is parallelograms. You can look at it end on. You can see they're parallelograms raised by the box. Parallelograms, tutorial 5. The top half, all the moving arm and everything, very clever and slightly let down by this bottom half. That's, well, not great visuals. And the last one in this book is the drummer. This is all tutorial 14. It's actually two boxes, a box and a box. For the shoulders, you've got adding extra creases. That's tutorial 7. So this is the drummer. So all these books, the Louis Giraud and Theodore Brown, they were working in London. And they inspired someone called Harold Lentz working in America. And in 1932, this book was produced, Pinocchio. And the quality of the graphics is more hard-edged, really. The others are a bit blurry, I suppose you'd call it. The main body, this is a parallel fold pyramid, which is tutorial 21. And you can see Pinocchio himself, the head is stuck to the spine, separate from the pyramid. So as you open and close it, his head zooms up out of it. Very clever bit of design, really. So if we turn it round, you can look at the back. You can see how the headpiece is stuck to the spine. So as you open and close it, that head rises up through the pyramid. The next one I'd like to show you in this book is this. I'd say this design is a direct lift from the very first one I showed you, the Theodore Brown's design in Daily Express Children's Annual number 1. The house is an open top shape, which is tutorial 18. And then these bits on the side, these use the 45-degree fold to lift up extra planes. And the 45-degree fold is tutorial 23. The fairy, this is the most simple of pop-ups, really. It's a form of parallel fold. So this you can see is a plain sheet of card that's been split a little way up. It's got two tabs, one on each side, and each of them they stick down parallel to the spine, just a few millimeters out on each side. And that gives the fairy stability so that she stands up, rising above the house. And the last one I want to show you in this book is this one. This fish is a pointed V-fold. This also is a pointed V-fold. These are tutorial 3. And then This is actually an arch. There's a couple of arches, so that's in tutorial 34. And then these are adding small 3D pieces. That's tutorial 8. And then inside here we've got Pinocchio. This is another V-fold cut to a small arch and being eaten by the fish as the page opens. The fish comes down. Unfortunately, there was an extra piece to the fish and that's got lost. This book is from 1932, so you know it's getting on for 100 years old and bits and pieces are missing, unfortunately. But yeah, nice graphics. And the last one I want to show you from the 1930s is also a blue ribbon book designed by Harold Lentz. And it's this one from 1934. So this is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Blue ribbon books, they invented the term pop-up. So this is where the words pop-up first appear. And they'd obviously realised actually you don't need these great fat books, that the pop-ups are what delight people. And so you get these, there's a whole series of these books. They're quite slim and each of them has 3 pop-ups in, but I'm only going to show you one now. So here it is. Goldilocks running away from the bear. The main body of the house, this is a parallel fold, symmetrical parallel fold, which is tutorial 6. This is a V-fold, tutorial 2. Added creases give you the head. Added creases give you this complication on the roof. And they're all extra creases is tutorial 7. This is a parallelogram, but the way it's being raised, that's just a clever bit of playing around, and if you want to do that, it's up to you to just experiment, you know, find something that does actually work. There's no specific tutorial about this. This is a facsimile of the City Park from about 1890, designed by Lothar Meggendorfer. A concertina with 14 frames with all these vignettes of life in around 1890. He was working in Germany. There's all sorts of just charming details in it, and there isn't really any 3D pop-up in it. So yeah, I just think it's a lovely children's toy, really. This is The Doll's House by Lothar Meggendorfer. It's really just a play set that unfolds to about 4 feet long. It's all parallelograms, and that, I think, is it. This is International Circus, 1887 by Lothar Meggendorfer. It's an absolute classic, all made with parallelograms. Opens up all the way around like this. All these parallelograms fold down and they actually hold themselves open if you get them in the right order. And there you have it, really fantastic spread.